Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Tuesday class, Mahabharata class, with some prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Vareneyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo yo nah prachodaya. Asto ma satgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityorma amritam gamya. Om sehna vavatu sehna bhunaktu saviryam karvavahi. Tejasvi navadhitamastu ma vidvishavahi. Om shanti shanti shanti. Let's open our books, Mahabharata books. This is a book 2, and we are on page number 308. And we saw that such a horrible way Abhimanyu was killed by the Kauravas. So now in this chapter, Arjun's, wow. So he has come back now because he was distracted away so that they can capture Abhimanyu, his son. And Abhimanyu is only 16 years of age. And 6 people together killed him. And that's also with such a deception. Okay. So now let's look at it. When Arjun comes back, what happens? So they have carried him back to the camp, but when he wakes from his faint, Yudhishthir sits on the ground, holding his head and sobbing. He wails, I sent the child to his death. I killed him. He said, I can break into the view, but not out of it. I'm afraid I may be trapped inside. And without thinking, I replied, we will all follow you in. Once you make the breach, we will smash the view. I sent Abhimanyu to his death. With my child gone, what will I do with the kingdom? Or even a throne in heaven? What will I do living? Bhim stands there crying silently, too shocked to speak. In a while, Yudhishthir says, Drona and Krip, Karan and Ashwathama, Duryodhan and Shalya could not contain him. So the cowards killed him with treachery, or my heroic child would have finished them all to death. He turns to the others. I beg you, one of you kill me before Arjun comes back and asks, Yudhishthir, why did you send my son to his death? How will I face him? How will I tell him? How will I tell Subhadra and Krishna? He faints again. In his swoon, Vyas comes to his grandson and says to him, though he was just a boy, Abhimanyu died like a Kshatriya. He has found heaven for himself. All that are born will surely die, and you must not let your grief consume you. The war remains to be fought and won, and you must keep courage. In the footnote, it says the discussion runs into 25 pages. This discussion between Rishi Vyas and Yudhishthir. Since this is just a summary of Mahabharata, so we should remember that. Yudhishthir awakes somewhat consoled, but he thinks, what will I say to Arjun? Arjun is turning home from his encounter with the Samastaks. After a day's battle, Susharma had been routed, his brothers all killed, and most of his army as well. The sun sets and Krishna turns his chariot back from the field. Suddenly, Arjun touches his Sarthi's shoulder and whispers, look at the omens, they are all evil. My body trembles, my heart beats wildly, and I am full of fear. I hope Yudhishthir is safe. Krishna replies, no evil has fallen Yudhishthir. For none can. Put away your fear, Arjun, and rejoice that Susharma has no men left with whom to challenge you. Tomorrow you can fight beside your brothers again. As they arrive in the Pandav camp, terrible anxiety rears its head again in Arjun like a serpent. Silence rules the camp. Arjun asks frantically, "What is this dreadful quiet?" No venas are playing, and the men slink away as if they want to avoid me. Where are my brothers? Where are my sons who come to greet me every evening? Where is Abhimanyu today? He is the first to run up with his smile and embrace me. Something awful has happened. Krishan, terror grips my soul. They climb down from the chariot and come to Yudhishthir's tent. Walking in, they see all the others sitting there stricken. Arjun stares at Yudhishthir. His brother does not raise his face, only wipes the tears that flow incessantly from his eyes. Bhima makes to rise when Arjun enters, but he falls back with an anguished moan, as if his legs cannot support him, or his tongue utter the words that his lips try to form. Nakul sits very still, gazing at the floor. Sahadev stares out fixedly through the tent flap and does not meet his brother's eyes. Draupadi's sons are there, but they also turn their faces away. No lamps burn in the tent. Night occupies it entirely, as it does the hearts of those within. Dread grips Arjuna in a vise. He asks, "Where is Abhimanyu? My son is the first to receive me every evening. Why are you all so quiet? Say something." Only Yudhishthir's sobs break the silence. Arjun dare not think the unthinkable thought that licks at him like a flame. He breathes, "I hear Drone formed the Chakravyuh today. You didn't send my child into it, did you?" Only silence answers him. Slowly he continues, speaking to himself. "None of you knew how to enter the Chakravyuh, only my son. I taught him, but I hadn't time to show him how to come out of it." He stops, a horrible certainty dawning on him. He whispers again, "Yudhishthir, did you send Abhimanyu into the Chakravyuh?" Yudhishthir gets up and puts his arms around Arjun. "Don't say another word, just kill me. Then ask the others your questions of why and how, because I have no answers to them. Kill me, my brother, I killed your son." Yudhishthir is beside himself. "You must avenge your son's death now. You must kill me, Arjun, kill me. I killed Abhimanyu. I swear it's true. I killed your son." Arjun falls as if he has been cut down with a sword. Even Krishna sits abruptly on the floor, his eyes filling. Then he sees Bhim beside his devastated. He takes Bhim's hand in compassion, and the son of the wind falls sobbing into his arms. Yudhishthir stands turned to stone. Arjun wakes with the scented water sprinkled on his face. He sits up and cries, "How did it happen? Tell me everything. How could he die? Couldn't all the Pandavas and Panchals together protect him? He knew he could not come out of the Chakravyuh. He must have told you that. I had only taught him how to break in. He knew he would die if he was caught inside the wheel of death. He knew it is a trap. Ah, my son." He faints again. Then waking once more, "Oh, Abhimanyu, you were the flower of chivalry. You would never begin a duel, even against your worst enemy. You always waited for the first arrow to be shot at you. How could the gods allow this? How will Arjun live with Abhimanyu is dead? Who had the heart to kill my beautiful boy?" And he is racked with sobs. Abruptly, he turns on Yudhishthir. "How could you let him go alone into the Chakravyuh? You were there, Yudhishthir. Bhim and Sahadev, Nakul, Drishtavan, and Satyaki were there. How did you let him go in alone? When you knew he could not come out, how did you, Yudhishthir? Answer me." There is no answer. Arjun cries again. "But who actually killed Abhimanyu? There is no one in the Kaurav army that could match my child. He was a greater Kshatriya than them all. Tell me who killed my prince. Surely there was some treachery. Ah, my son, they must have surrounded you and shut you down like a dog. I see your sweet face, all bloody, as you lie on Kurukshetra as meat for jackals and vultures. How will I face your mothers? How will I break this news to Subhadra and Draupadi? How will I face his wife, the child, Uttara?" He staggers to his feet, flings his quiver and bow from him. He cannot bear the violence of this sorrow and faints again. Once more they revive him with scented water and salts. Now Krishna takes Arjun's hand and speaks to him gently. You mustn't grieve like this. Your son died a hero's death. He gave his life that many others may live, and in peace. In his 16 years, Abhimanyu achieved what the greatest Kshatriyas hardly do in a lifetime. Those whom the gods love very much, they call back quickly to themselves. Abhimanyu is in Devlok now with his grandfather Indra. But your brothers are here around you, Arjun. Look at them. Are you blind that you don't see the guilt that savages them? Are you made of stone that you can't see how they suffer? Instead, you indulge your own sorrow and make their burden insupportable. Abhimanyu was not only your son, he was the child of us all, and we hardly loved him less than you did. With a moan, Arjun runs to embrace Bhim, who breaks down completely like a child himself. Arjun falls at Yudhishthir's feet, crying, Forgive me, oh, forgive the harsh things I said to you. I beg you, forgive me, my brothers. Yudhishthir embraces Arjun, and their tears flow together. Nakul and Sahdev come forward to clasp their brother then. Drishdyuman, Shikhandi, and Satyaki, all crying as each one had lost his own son. In a while, Arjun says, Tell me now what happened. I am calm enough to hear everything. Satyaki, tell me. Drishdyuman, my friend, tell me the name of the man who killed my child. Yudhishthir, my brother, tell me. A storm of tears takes him again, and he says, My heart is made of stone, that it doesn't break in 1,000 pieces when my child is dead. I am a devil that I still live when my Abhimanyu is gone. Yudhishthir takes Arjun's hand and makes him sit beside him. I will tell you, Arjun, I will tell you everything that led to the death of the jewel of our line. Early in the day, Susharam lured you away from the main battle, and the Acharya formed his Chakravyuh. The fighting began, and we could not stand against them all. The Chakra wheeled round, and from every part of it, arrows flew out at our men. We tried to break the view, all of us together, Bhim and I, Satyaki and Drishdyuman, Sadev and Nakul, but Drone stood at its rim and held us off. Our legions were being shredded. If the Chakra was not breached, the war would have ended by evening, and all our men would be dead. Arjun, thousands of our soldiers died each moment, and we were not able to kill more than a handful of theirs. In despair, I called Abhimanyu and said to him, Among us, only you know how to breach the Chakra. We must break in, Abhimanyu, or the war is lost. He said, My father taught me how to break into the Chakravyuh, but I don't know how to come out again. Yudhishthir cannot go on, and in a whisper, Bhim takes up the story. He did not tell us he could not come out of the view once he had broken in, but we said to him, We will be at your heels, Abhimanyu. Just make the first break, and we will smash the view. All of us stood before him. Yudhishthir and I, Nakul and Sahadev, Drishdyuman, Shikhandi, Satyaki, Drupad, Virat, and Keches, his brothers, and many more. How could he doubt what we said, or refuse to do as we asked, when our men were dying like flies? I will never forget the light that was upon him. Joyfully he said he would make the breach. He climbed into his chariot and rode at the view. He fought like a Dev. No, he fought more magnificently than any Dev. He fought like Abhimanyu, and the view parted for him like a woman, while Drona stood helpless. And the view parted for him like a while Drone stood helpless. Tears fill Bhim's eyes again, and he says hoarsely, How will I ever forget how I saw him last? Just as he was storming into the Chakra, he turned in his chariot and gave us all such a smile, Arjun. That smile will haunt me for the rest of my wretched life. Bhim breaks down again, and Arjun takes his brother in his arms and comforts him. Yudhishthir takes up the tale. We were no more than half a chariot length behind him, so he had room to maneuver. All of us were ready to fly into the view after him. We saw him split the chakra. We saw him flash past the acharya. We saw him turn and smile. And Arjun, after he had entered, the chakra was still open. There was a gap in it wide as two chariots. We rode at the opening, Bhim in front, I just behind him, and then the others, but suddenly Jayadratha loomed in our path. Jayadratha, and how many with him? Yudhishthir bends his head. He says in a whisper, only he. Jayadratha held you all up alone? He fought like 100 Jayadraths. Arjun looks around in disbelief. Bhim and the others nod their heads. Krishna says quietly, he worshipped Shiv for a boon, and this was it, that one day he would hold up all the Pandavas by himself, as long as Arjun was not with them. That was his revenge for what you did to him in the forest. Yudhishthir resumes, Jayadratha held us up as if Shiv himself fought from his body. And before he knew it, 1,000 men had filled the gap in the Chakravyuh. The view was sealed again. But now, with our child inside, for hours we heard the screams within as he burnt them. They could not hold him at all. He killed 10,000 men. He did not die alone. He killed Duryodhan's boy, Lakshman. Arjun gasps. Sadev says, he killed Brihadpal. Yudhishthir says, he fought them long like a tiger, a pack of dogs. He chokes again, but in the end they killed him. Arjun cries, but how did they kill my son? Who killed him? Sadev comes near and takes his hand. Quietly he says, my brother, listen to the vilest crime committed on Kurukshetra. 6 Maharathikas surrounded him. Karan, Krip, Drona, Ashwatthama, Kritvarman, and Dushashan's son. He fought like a god and routed them all. Then I heard Karan went to Acharya Drona and asked him how Abhimanyu could be killed, or the war would be lost by dusk, because our child would have raised their army. Drona told Karan that as long as he had his bow in his hand, Abhimanyu's armor was impenetrable. Our precious Acharya told Karan that the only way to kill our prince was to break his bow from behind like a thief. Twice Abhimanyu had beaten Karna up, wounding him sorely. So now the dastard crept behind our child, severed his bowstring, and then broke his bow. The 6 surrounded it again. Drona killed his horses, Krip his guards and his Sathi, and when he was defenseless, they shot him with 100 arrows until he was bathed in blood. He fought on, and we watched some of it and heard the rest. We were helpless because we still could not break into the chakra view. He killed a legion of elephants, though by now he was gravely wounded. When he staggered on his feet, Dushashan's boy leapt down from his chariot and they fought with maces. They struck each other down. Our child was exhausted, and Dushashan's boy rose before he did. He struck Abhimanyu a last blow on his head, and your son died. There was no shame in his death, Arjun, except for those who killed him. He hangs his head, and for all of us who sent him to his death, Sadev also breaks down and cries. They watch Arjun's eyes turn red. He rises softly and stands before them trembling. In terrible quiet, he says, I swear I will kill Jayadratha tomorrow. Let the Kauravas guard him with every man they have. Let Shiva himself come to protect him. Jayadratha will not live. If I don't kill him tomorrow, let all the punya I have leak away from me, and let me find the worst hell of all for myself. I swear by this sacred Agni and by this Gandiv that if I don't kill Jayadratha tomorrow, I will make a fire for myself and walk into it with my bow in my hand. Arjun picks up the Gandiv and pulls on its string. So the night resounds with that noise. Krishna raises the Panchanya to his lips and blows a blast on it like the thunder of the thunder. Even the Devas in their lok hear that sound, and with it hope courses against through the Pandav camp. Arjun has mastered his grief and turned it to wrath. There would be a great hunt tomorrow. Bhim jumps up and hugs Arjun. I am so proud of you. I know you will keep your oath. They must have heard this sound across the field, and they may have died of fright. Grief turns to a searing hunger for revenge. The Pandavas leave for their own tents to try to sleep what remains of the night. When they are alone, though Abhimanyu's bright face comes to haunt them, how he turned and smiled at them just before he broke into the Chakravyuha. Hardly a man, common soldier, or Kshatriya sleeps for sorrow that Abhimanyu's splendid prince is dead, and a new anxiety tugs at their hearts in the small hours. For Arjun's heart oath, it would not be easy to pull Jayadratha. Kaurav spies would already have carried word back to Duryodhan, and every man of the Kaurav army would be detailed to guard Jayadratha tomorrow. For if Arjun did not kill him before the sun set, the Pandav must immolate himself to honor his solemn word. What easier way could there be of killing the invincible Arjun than keeping Jayadratha alive until the sunset? A million men lying sleepless in their beds, mourning in the night for dead Abhimanyu, pray fervently that the gods would deliver Jayadratha into Arjun's hands tomorrow. Next chapter, Jayadratha's terror. And you know who Jayadratha is? He is Kaurav's only sister's husband, so brother-in-law. The evening Abhimanyu died, there is jubilation in the Kaurav camp. Drona is lionized. He had kept his word, and one of the most feared Pandav warriors was dead. Moreover, this death, more than any other, would shatter the enemy's morale. It would break Arjun's heart and his brothers' hearts. There is even speculation whether Arjun will kill himself when he hears the news. Duryodhan learns of the massacre of the Samasvats. He thinks it a fair price to pay for Abhimanyu's death. Why the Kaurav hardly mourns his own son Lakshman, whom Abhimanyu killed? He is so excited that Arjun's voice dead. The war possesses Duryodhan absolutely. Everything else, even his son's life, is insignificant when seen in the light of victory. No price is too high to pay, no sacrifice too dear to make. He celebrates with the others, his pale eyes gleaming brightest of all. Suddenly, the night's silence is riven with the thunder of the Gandir, followed by the awesome bass of Panchanya. In Duryodhan's tent, they all fall silent. This is not what they had expected, this triumphant pulling at bowstring and blasting on conch. It unnerves them. But Duryodhan cries, hollow sounds, they don't deceive me. Their spirits are broken and they will die soon. The drinking and celebration continue, if less raucously than before, until Jayadratha burst in on them, shaking. Karan cries, what news, O Kshatriya? Jayadratha is in such a state he can hardly speak. Somehow he manages to blurt. Our spies say Arjun has sworn to kill me before the sun sets tomorrow. I want to go back to my father's kingdom. It is against Kshatriya Dharam to pursue someone who has fled the field. Arjun is a man of Dharam. He won't come after me. Jayadratha has served his purpose already. The shrewd Duryodhana expects no further valor from him. The Kaurav gives a short, cruel laugh. You are trembling like a woman, Jayadratha. Don't be afraid. A man may swear any oath he likes in a fit of grief. But how will Arjun kill you? Besides, we hardly killed Abhimanyu with Dharam. I think you will be safer with our army than riding home alone. Besides, did you mark what the spies reported? Arjun said, even if he hides with Shiv himself, I will kill him. Jayadratha shakes like a leaf. Duryodhan continues, the safest place on earth for you is at the heart of my army. All of us will protect you. Even Indra will not be able to touch you as long as you are with us. I shall be at your side, Jayadratha. And Karan, Vyumasati, Shal, Shalya, Chitrasen, Bhurishva, Vrishsen, Purumitra, Kripa, Bhoj, Vikaram, Durmukh, Dushashan, Vind, Anuvind, Ashwatthama, Shakni, Alambush. To name only some of those whose sole task tomorrow will be to guard your life. Why every soldier will have my command just to protect you? By yourself today, you captive Bhim, Yudhishthir, Drishtyuman, Satyaki, Nakul, Sadev, and all the rest from taking into the Chakravyuh. And now you fear just Arjun. He is only another man, like the rest of us. He is no Dev, that you should be so terrified of him. I give you my word, and I would stake my own life on it. He will not harm a hair of your head. Softly, Duryodhana goes on. Then there is Arjun's vow. Jayadratha, you will kill Arjun not by cutting him down in battle, but by staying alive until the sun sets tomorrow. Didn't the spies tell you he has sworn to kill himself? He has not killed you by sunset. I swear you will not die. But he is full of dark excitement. Everything is turning our way once more. Abhimanyu's death has achieved what we wanted. Arjun has sworn a rash oath he cannot keep. And when he burns himself after the fails to kill you, what will the other Pandavas do? The rest will be easy to finish. Jayadratha, you have been chosen to be the pretext of our victory. Far from reassured, Jayadratha says, can all of us together stop Arjun from keeping his oath? Duryodhana, we killed his son, and fear grips me like a pisage. Duryodhana sighs, if you won't take my word, let us go to the Acharya and see what he says. In Drona's tent, Jayadratha asks the master, Acharya, tell me, am I the better archer or is Arjun? Drona says slowly, you are both great bowmen and you have the same guru, but Arjun is more dedicated than you. Not a day passes when he does not practice with his bow for hours. For him, archery is worship. He also has the Devastras and he is more resilient than you are. But all that does not matter. I will save you from Arjun tomorrow. I will form a view whose mystery we will never penetrate. We will set you at the heart of it, and guided by us all, you will be safe. Jayadratha is still unconvinced, anxiety plain on his face, as if this doubt is a slight to him. Drona says impatiently, I will do everything I can to protect you. But if it is fated that Arjun kills you, what a shame is there in dying in battle? How splendidly young Abhimanyu met his death today. All that are born must die, and what finer death is there for a Kshatriya than to die fighting a war like this one? If Arjun kills you, Jayadratha, you will find heaven for yourself. Jayadratha trembles more than ever. With a sigh, Drona says, listen to me. We must save your life tomorrow, not only for your sake, but for the very war. I mean to form not one or two, but three views, and to hide you at the heart of them. On the outside, we shall have a Shakat view, within that a Chakra, and finally a Suchimukh view, with you at the needle's eye. Watched over by a column of Maharathikas, I will stand over all three views, and anyone who enters them will first have to pass me. Arjun has delivered his life into our hands. Even if he breaks past the Shakata and Chakra view, it will take him all day. Then the third and the most difficult view will confront him, and I will be at its point again. The sun will have set long before he can reach you. Jayadratha seems consoled. Duryodhana moistens his lips in anticipation of Arjun's death. Later that night, across Kurukshetra, Krishna comes alone to Arjun's tent. Arjun lies stiff as an arrow in his bed, his eyes streaming for his son, but his face sets like stone. He must keep his vow, but first Jayadratha would die tomorrow. But the others wouldn't escape. The 6 cowards who had hunted his child down like an animal. Krishna glides in and sits beside Arjun. He says, that was a rash oath you swore. Where was the need to say you would take your own life if you don't kill Jayadratha tomorrow? Duryodhana knows about your oath, and the Drona means to hide Jayadratha at the heart of three views, with every soldier of his army charged to protect one man's life. Arjun lies in the darkness, silent. Krishna continues, A Shakti view first, with Drone at its threshold, then a Chakra, and finally a view to confound even you. A Shuchimukh, with Jayadratha at its eye, and the body of the needle will have their finest warriors, one after the other, Karan, Ashwatthama, Bhureshwar, Vrishsen, Durjay, Duryodhan, Shalya, Kripa, Durmukh, and Drona again, following you in. Can you break past all this in time to kill Jayadratha before the sun sets? Arjun is perfectly calm. He says with unusual certainty, all these men together are not half the archer I am. Drona and his son will not stand before me tomorrow, nor will Karan or any of the others. Jayadratha will die before the sun sets. How will he not die when my child Abhimanyu will be watching to see if I keep my oath? Why are you, of all people, so full of doubt, Krishan, when we shall be irresistible tomorrow? Think of it like this. We have the noblest weapon with us, the Gandiva. Some say Arjun is the best archer in the world and the greatest man who ever lived in my Sarthi. When you are with me, Lord, how will I fail? Arjun cannot be certain if Krishna smiles in the night. They sit together without speaking for a time, and Abhimanyu fills their thoughts. Arjun says, I cannot face Subhadra tonight. I can't bear to see her cry. I haven't the strength to console Uttara. I beg you, go and comfort them for me. Tell them I will see them tomorrow when I have kept my oath. Krishan goes to his sister's tent. He finds her crying as mothers have since the dawn of time, whenever they lost a son to a bestial war. She sits on the floor, her hair loose, convulsed with sobs. The princess Uttara sits beside her, pale, numb, tears flowing down her shocked face. Subhadra rises when Krishan comes in. With a wail, she runs into his arms and breaks down utterly. Tears springing in his own eyes, Krishan holds her while she weeps in tights of grief. Gradually, Subhadra calms down and they sit beside each other again. She never lets go of his hand. Long they sit in silence. He wipes her tears with dark fingers and says gently, you must not grieve like this. Abhimanyu has reached Devlok. He is part of the moon. He is blessed, he is blissful, and he died as only the very greatest Kshatriyas do. His name is already a legend. Men will always say he was the most perfect prince that ever lived. You must not grieve like this for a warrior who lived as full a life as he did and died a death for which other men would weep. Subhadra, you are a daughter of the house of Vrishni. You are the wife of the greatest archer in the world. Your brothers are Kshatriyas. Your son was a great Kshatriya. You must not cry. We are in the midst of a war for which your child gave his life. This is no time for weakness. Subhadra says, how can I not cry, Krishan? I think of my boy, whom I carried as a golden baby in my arms, whom I nursed at my breast. I think of him lying on Kurukshetra, his body torn and bloody, his head crushed, and how can I not cry? The 5 Pandavas are alive, fearless Arjun and Krishna are alive, yet my child lies dead, with kites and hyenas picking his bones. Oh, how could this happen, Krishna? I thought the sons of Pandu are the mightiest Kshatriyas on earth, but I see I was wrong. Otherwise, with his uncles beside him, how was my son killed? He was just 16. And you tell me that I should not cry because he died a Kshatriya's death? What do I care about that? To me, my child is dead, and that is all. Sobs rack her again. Krishan holds her close. When her storm abates, he says, this is your sorrow speaking, Subhadra. Abhimanyu was killed treacherously by the evil ones we fight. Arjun and I were lured away from the main battle. Then the murderers enticed our child into the Chakravyuh and killed him. They broke his bow from behind, because not all of them together could stand against your son in battle. A dharma has been born into the world, and the Kali Yuga rises over the earth, but the murderers will not escape punishment. Already Arjun has sworn to kill the man who sealed the Chakravyuh after Abhimanyu broke into it. Before the sun sets tomorrow, Jayadratha will die. and that will be just the beginning of our revenge. The cowards will all die, and their deaths will not be so noble as your child's. Think that Abhimanyu is now one of the gods, and he covered himself in glory before he died. Subhadra, how is it you cry so bitterly only when your own boy is dead? Do you know how many thousands of mothers have lost their sons to this war? Their tears flow in a river that fills the night. It is a river that sprang in this world long ago, when the very first war was fought, and the river of grief will flow on until the world ends. Dry your tears, Subhadra, and console this child Uttara. She needs your strength now, and instead you show her your weakness. Draupadi comes in, and she is hardly less broken than Subhadra, but she is brave and far stronger for what she has endured these 13 years. Subhadra and Uttara turn to her, almost as to a mother, and Panchali confronts them as only, comforts them as only another woman can. Krishna returns to Arjun's tent. His warrior is waiting for him, now ready with his offerings. This is a nightly ritual, and Krishna sits quietly before the panda, who worships him with flowers, fruit, incense, and honey. The avatar places a hand on Arjun's head, blessing him. He says, Jai Vijay Bhav. May you always be victorious. You must sleep now, Arjun. You must be fresh and rested tomorrow. Turning down the lamp, Krishna goes out into the night, where his Sarathi, the faithful Daruk, waits with his chariot to take to his own tent. Krishna climbs in. They drive back slowly, with a breeze full of prophecies caressing their faces. Next chapter is Arjun's dream. Past midnight, Krishna lies awake in his bed. He gets up and sends for Daruk. He makes a Sarthi sit beside him. Krishna takes Daruk's hand and says, You have heard about Arjun's impetuous oath. So has Duryodhan, and he plans to guard Jayadratha like his own life. Drona will form 3 views and keep Jayadratha at the eye of the third, protected by their Maharathis. If Arjun doesn't kill Jayadratha before the sun sets tomorrow, he must take his own life. Daruk sits listening. Krishna goes on, I know what a Kshatriya Arjun is, but it will be harder to pass Drona and the others tomorrow than it was to kill the Nivat Kavach. Then it is Dakshinayan, and sun will set early. I'm afraid for Arjun. There are sinister powers, greater than we know, which watch over Duryodhan's destiny. They will bend their will to keep Jayadratha safe and have Arjun's life cheaply. The Sarthi has never seen his master's black eyes so anxious. Daruk, you know how much I love Arjun. Why I love him more than I do anyone in the world, more than my queens or my sons. He is part of me as no one else is. If Arjun were to die tomorrow, I would follow him into the fire. A flicker of alarm in Daruk's eyes. He has not heard Krishna speak like this before. He remembers something he had heard from the lips of mystic rishis and wise old men. Arjun and Krishna were born on the same day. They are Narayan. The dark one lowers his voice. And if we both die, Daruk, how will the others resist the evil that wants to sweep everything before it? I have sworn I will not fight in this war, but I will perjure myself and break my vow so Arjun may keep his. He glances around for the night has ears. Drawing the Sarthi nearer, Krishna whispers, You must do something for me, old friend. Prepare my own chariot tonight for war. Arm it with all my weapons. Put the saring in it and my quiver, the Komdaki and my Shakti. Tie on the Garud banner, but don't unfurl it yet. Cover Valhaka, Sabya, Megh-pushpa, and Sugriv in their armor, and yoke them. You also, Tanmel, and wait at the edge of the field. If you hear me blow a rishabh on the Panchanya, fly to me, Daruk. I will kill Karan, Duryodhan, and the rest. I will lose the Sudarshan at them, and we will see how their fine views stand before my chakra. Be ready from dawn, Daruk. Listen for the bishop on my conch. Daruk says, I will do as you say, my lord, but when you are his Sarthi, how will Arjun not keep his vow? How will Jayadratha not die before the sun sets tomorrow? Krishna smiles. It will do no harm to be prepared. Your chariot and weapons will be ready, so shall I. The Sarthi bows and leaves. With a sigh and somewhat relieved, Krishna lies down on his bed with a prayer for Abhimanyu. He falls asleep. In another tent, Arjun also lies in his bed, and he is full of disquiet, but he is tired after the harrowing day and drifts off into a troubled slumber. Arjun dreams, and Krishna appears in his dream. The Dark One says to him, you must not grieve like this, you will only strengthen your enemies. Anxiety is a sickness, Arjun, it saps you. I am with you, my friend, fear nothing. Arjun answers him, will I be able to kill Jayadratha before the sun sets tomorrow? If I cannot, the world will mock me, and I must take my own life. Krishna grows thoughtful. Do you remember Indrapila, O Pandav? You sat on the mountain in Tapasya to have a weapon from Mahadev. Do you remember how Shiv came to you as a Vital? You fought the Lord Arjun, and he was so pleased with your warrior's worship, he gave you his Pashupat Astra. You must use the Pashupat against Jayadratha, and he will not hear. But where is that Astra, Krishna? Come sit with me in Dhyan, says Krishna. In the dream, Arjun purifies himself, touching his holy body. He sits before the avatar. He shuts his eyes and feels Krishna's grace upon him. Krishna says, meditate on the Lord Shiva. In Dhyan, Arjun feels himself leave his body. Krishna is beside him and holds the Pandav's hand. Together they fly through a Sarupian sky, swift and straight as two arrows. They fly north, cleaving the wind. It is a lucid dream, and Arjun sees everything that lies below him. Across the Himalaya range of 100 peaks, they flit and still they flash on, always north. They pass Himavan and fly over a vast tableland dotted with crystal lakes. On they fly until they see the most pristine lake of all, the Man Sarovar. Beyond the limit waters of the Manas, a lone mountain looms, its peaks rounded like a full moon or a gigantic pearl. This is Kailash, most sacred of mountains. Anointed with the opalescent snow, Krishna and Arjun fly closer to the mountain like a vision. Suddenly its highest slopes into blinding as if 100 suns have risen upon it. Shiva sits on a white ridge, ineffable Uma at his side, and they swathe Kailash with the light. Krishna and Arjun fly down to the Shiva's feet. They prostrate themselves before the god of gods. They eulogize him with the Sat Rudriya, his 1,000 names. Shiva smiles, laying his hand on their heads. He blesses them. He says in his voice deeper than the sky, tell me what boon you have come for, Nar Narayana. Arjun says, Lord, I have come for the Pashupatastra. Even as he speaks, Arjun is startled to see the offerings he made earlier that night to Krishna laid at Shiva's feet. Serene Mahadev says, my bow and the astra I once loosed at the Tripur lie below the lake of Amrita. Seek them out, Arjun, and bring them to me. Krishna and Arjun find themselves flying north again, now with a host of Shiv Angs around them. The Ganas bring them to the banks of a velvet lake like a sea before them. They stand on its shore, the dark waters glimmering as far as their eyes see, and a spray of nectar flying in their faces. Suddenly, a sibilant hissing fills that place, and with a powerful swirling, the waters part. Two immense serpents, scintillating jewels in their hoods, raise themselves high into the air before Krishna and Arjuna. They are 1,000-headed snakes, and flames spew from their jaws. Krishna begins to worship Shiv aloud with the Maharudri. Arjun quickly does the same. At once the fiery nags grow poisoned. As the chanting continues, they are transformed into two shining weapons. A golden bow and a silver arrow float out of the two warriors. Kneeling on sands like petal dust, Krishna and Arjun receive those ayuds. With that bow and arrow, Arjun and Krishna and the Shiv guns with them fly back to Kailash. They came to Shiv again and offer the weapons to him. He smiles at them, and an unearthly light issues from his body. From it, a wild brahmachari stands forth, his eyes fire, his hair falling to his waist in a shimmering blue and black cascade. Point to Shiv, the apparition picks up the ancient weapons. He shows Arjun the only way that bow older than the world can be strung. He shows him how the arrow is flitted to it, and the string is drawn back. Arjun masters the art of it instantly as no other archer could. As he pulls back the bowstring, Arjun hears Shiva's voice, deep in his mind, intoning the mantra for the Pashupatastra, which begins by invoking Ganpati, the Lord's elephant-headed son, master of his host of guns. The mantra fills every cell in Arjun's body. In a moment, he knows it perfectly. Now the brahmachari takes those weapons back from a Pandav, and with a cry, from where he stands, he casts them back into the distant lake. Becoming fierce serpents again, they submerge below dark ripples and are gone. But Arjun feels the lake and the weapons within himself still, and he knows the astra will return to him whenever he needs it. The brahmachari vanishes. Krishna and Arjun prostrate themselves once more at holy Shiva's feet. As he blesses them, Arjun sees him again as he did in the forest near Indrakila, as the Vetal. All his anxiety is swept from him in a wave of joy. Arjun touches the Lord's feet and flies back to Kurukshetra with Krishna beside him. Arjun emerges from Dhyan, but Krishna has vanished from his dream. Other dreams flow into the Pandav's sleep and bear him away on tranquil currents. So this is the end of this chapter, and we'll see next week what happens with those three views. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you very much.